You know, Pete, I feel like every single time we start the show, I always start it the exact same way. I always say, well, hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of, and then I wait, and then you say, the Movie Man. I don't want to start it that way, so I'm starting it this way instead. How do you feel about that?
I really don't care.
Oh, that's the commitment and dedication to our cause that I was, expecting from you.
It's like when you make a salad, do you put the dressing in last or do you put the anchovies in second last? It doesn't really matter. The ingredients all come out the same. All the important thing is to convey we're the Movie Men. Thanks for listening and welcome. Doesn't matter what order and what way you do it.
That's not true. The order in which you put a salad together is a very delicate and intricate, art form.
Yeah. I used a horrible comparison.
You did.
Anyway.
Anyways, hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of
The Movie Man.
Damn it. Oh well. Next time. What's going on, Pete? Talk to me.
Well, should I get some housekeeping out of the way?
Sure. Yeah. If you feel like you've got some things to clean up and take care of.
Yeah. So this is the Movie Men podcast. We're continuing our Star Wars mini-series. For those that listen and follow us on Podbean, thank you. If you don't listen and follow us on Podbean, we're available on iTunes now, so listen and subscribe on iTunes, and please give us a good rating and leave us a good review. It really does help us.
And can I just interject? As much as I fundamentally hate Apple as a corporation and as an ideology and as a cult in general, I'm very excited that we're on iTunes. That's it's good.
Welcome to the cult. Thank you. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. Support us if you feel so inclined on Patreon, and reach out to us by sending us a message on Facebook or emailing us at themoviemenpodcast@gmail.com, all lowercase. One more piece of housekeeping. It's the first episode of the month, so it's time for our monthly thank you to our Tier 2 and above Patreon supporters. So this episode...
Meaning what, Pete? What does that mean? Like, how do I become a Tier 2 supporter, and what does that mean for me?
Right. So go on to the link that will be below this episode and go on to Patreon. And there are 4 different tiers that you can choose. And if you're on Tier 2, 3, or 4, that means you get a monthly thank you on our episode, just like Daphne Kirkpatrick just got right now.
Daphne.
So thank you, Daphne.
Way to go.
We really appreciate it.
Daphne's the best.
Yeah. So the 4 tiers, just a personal thank you message is the entry-level tier. Shout out on the show is 2. Increasing voting power is the 3rd tier, and bonus content is the 4th tier. And if you're the highest tier you get everything in the tiers below you. Go check it out.
You know those memes online where it's like, this is so and so, be like so and so?
No.
Do you know? There'd be like, oh, this is Doug. Doug's not an asshole. Be like Doug.
Oh. So that I think that originates ironically from those Apple commercials, right? Where there'd be the 2 actors and like Doug's IBM, don't be like Doug. He's not compatible with whatever.
Right. The IBM guy, the PC guy is a guy that actually has a family and a job, and the MacBook guy is like a pot smoking hipster.
I forget the dynamics of who was being uplifted in the commercial, but I think that's the origin of that meme.
Anyways, all of that is to say Daphne supports us on Patreon. Be like Daphne. Daphne's great.
Yeah. Daphne is great. Thank you, Daphne.
So this, as Pete said, this is a continuation of a series that we're doing. To see the last relevant episode, listen to it. To listen to the episode that we did on A New Hope, go and check out the link posted down below. We're working through all the Star Wars movies between now and the release of The Rise of Skywalker. So that's, it's very exciting.
An undertaking for sure.
It is. One final piece of housekeeping is that in the process of, traveling through the jungle on our way to record this episode, we came across a homeless jungle person.
Who is surprisingly fluent in movies and critiquing them.
For being a homeless jungle person, yes.
Yeah. I'm not sure he's a homeless jungle person, but he's very good at critiquing movies.
Oh, okay. See, you told me before. Anyways, never mind.
That's the only way you'd let me have him on the show.
It's true. I wanted a homeless jungle person. And
yeah.
So the fact that I
really
feel
specific.
like I have one. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Jesse. We've
Hey
got
guys,
Jesse
thanks for having
Voth.
me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us.
I feel like Jesse's gotten at least one shout out or one. I feel like Pete's brought him up like 5 or 1,600 times during various episodes. Like anytime there's a story, like I've got a catalog of friends that I reference in this show, and Pete's got one guy. He's like, oh yeah, but Jesse Voth.
It's true. Jesse is a connoisseur of movies. So when like most of the unique movies, I'm like, oh yeah, I should give a shout out because of this. It's because of Jesse. Most of my other friends are like, hey, we should watch Rambo 27, and it's like, well, that's not worth talking about.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he's the common denominator.
I think Pete and I we've known each other for like about 10 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I think we've been watching movies and discussing them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
that's the genesis of that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's as far as I'm concerned. That qualifies you if anything qualifies you. So that's yeah. So we watched Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
Yeah. Is it The Empire? I think it's just Empire.
According to my VHS of the special edition, which is in front of me, the word "the" is in front of it.
Yeah, I guess it would have to be. Grammar matters, kids.
Right.
It is the Empire.
It is the
right.
Yeah. It's not a. It's not. It's not a empire. It's the
right.
Empire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not one of many.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
So right off the bat, first impression before we break into it and dissect it for all of the wonderful, goodness that it is. Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. Pete, yay or nay?
I think yay. I mean, it's a strong second chapter to the original trilogy, and some would argue it's the best of the three.
Many people, I would say, above any other Star Wars film, many people, this is their favorite one.
Right. And
although,
so what I was going to... No, not always. And so some people would argue that it's the best of the trilogy and by the extension of all the Skywalker saga movies. To which I just want to make a note that I just need to acknowledge. Personally, I and myself, Jesse is included in this, we appreciate the prequels. I'm not here to start a war about are the prequels better or worse. We're not here today to start that.
That's in a couple of weeks.
But ultimately, yes, obviously Empire is a good movie, and it's a strong movie, and it builds off of A New Hope. It's improved depth from A New Hope. New Hope's a little flat, so Empire has better plot, a better character development, better thematic elements. So yeah, overall, yay on Empire.
And Jesse, The Empire Strikes Back, yay or nay?
Yeah, definite yay for me. Absolutely. I mean, in terms of general impressions, I don't have too much to add. But it's definitely my favorite of the original trilogy. I think it's definitely one of the best in the saga overall. So.
Yeah.
All right.
And Mr. Brady, what are your thoughts? Yay or nay?
Definitely yay. I wouldn't. I wouldn't put it in the category of my favorite. But having thought about that this morning, I don't know if I could name my favorite Star Wars film. I feel like I could name a top three.
Sure.
And I do know I could name my top three. And I don't. But they wouldn't be in any specific order. Empire would be among them. Empire would be in the top 3 or top. Empire would be in the top 4 for sure.
Sure.
And there's 8 of them, so it's it's above 50% for sure.
Yeah, when choosing your favorite Star Wars movie, it can be like, what do you like better, oxygen or water?
Yeah, which is yeah.
Especially of the prequel and the original 3, like those are more near and dear to people's hearts. There's some debate on the newer ones, but especially with the original 6, I'm going to call them, it's how do you pick your favorite? It's very hard.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, I would say that's true for most Star Wars films. I think if we were comparing The Phantom Menace with The Last Jedi, then, it's kind of like, well, do you prefer smoking or do you prefer vaping? Turns out both are going to kill you. But
wow, those are them's fighting words.
Yeah, Phantom Menace gets a bad rap, but that's another day's debate.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that has to be taken into consideration when you're trying to make a ranking is the nostalgia factor. Because obviously there's nostalgia is a huge part of the conversation, and depending on which films you watched at what point in your childhood and how many times you watched them and what particular memories you have associated with them, I think that has a big impact on which ones you rank higher or lower.
Oh, for sure. Like someone born in the 2000s is almost certainly going to favor, or at least really enjoy, the prequels, because that's their Star Wars, right? That's what they know. So which you can't fault them for. This is there's a lot in this film that really kind of introduces. There's a lot of new concepts and new things introduced into this movie. We hear about the Force in A New Hope, but we don't see it used very much. We don't really, it's just kind of this invisible thing that holds everything together. We're not really sure what all the Force is capable of. We see a lot more Force use in this movie.
Yeah.
Right, we see the Force pull. I think our first use of the Force in this movie is Luke in the Wampa cave, and he uses the Force to pull his lightsaber out of the snow. So my question would be, and I'm not 100% sure, how long after the events of A New Hope are we saying this is?
Yeah, long enough. I have no idea. I would say a few months.
I mean,
I think
probably
it's,
no longer
it's
than that.
some time. I think it's some time. I could be wrong, but and obviously this isn't necessarily canon. But I believe that a novel was written that was set between the two.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
I can't remember the name of it, but I think the general impression is that there's a fair amount of time, a fair amount of years, maybe even years of war have been.
Oh, okay.
Have been going by. At least that's been my impression, I think.
I mean, I don't know. I think there are things that both support and contradict that theory. I think that I mean, I wonder where. I mean, right from the get-go, and already in A New Hope, it seems that Luke is already strong with the Force. He hasn't had any training. But he's got enough Force use to be able to shut off his nav computer and hit the target. And in this one, I just wonder how much practicing he's had and what that practicing looks like. Like the fact that he knows to try to pull the lightsaber out of the snow and is successful in doing it. Obviously struggles with it a little bit at first, but then eventually pulls it off. He hasn't obviously, we hear Obi-Wan's voice appear to Luke at the end of A New Hope, but it's not until he's dying out in the blizzard on Hoth that Luke actually sees a physical manifestation of Obi-Wan. So it's not like he hasn't met Yoda at this point, so he's not training with Yoda, and it doesn't seem like Obi-Wan's probably giving him very much support when it comes to honing these skills.
We don't know. I mean, Luke wasn't surprised by Obi-Wan's appearance, so maybe he's making weekly sessions of, hey, Luke, let's jam with the Force here. And I mean, I don't know how else he would have been training, right? Like, I'm not familiar enough with canon and but
I don't know. I don't really imagine that. I mean, I think this is all speculation, but I think like when he sees Obi-Wan in the snow, I mean, he's dying, he's suffering. I don't know if registering, I'm surprised to see you isn't necessarily the first thing that's going to come to mind for him, I think.
Yeah, I think he's surprised and confused.
Fair enough.
I think the fact that he's half dead at this point is stopping him from being overly expressive about it. But he definitely, he's laying there and he goes, Ben? Like he's
right.
Is this a hallucination of the fact that am I hypothermic and so I'm seeing old dead guys, or am I what's going on? It also
just a poor little side note. I did feel bad for Mark Hamill because he pulled a kind of a old Hollywood stunt here. He went inside of a tauntaun in an effort to win an Oscar, and it didn't work like it did for Leo. And I just felt bad for him. When Leo climbed in that horse in The Revenant, that earned him his Oscar, and didn't work for Mark Hamill.
Sure. So something to note, Harrison Ford using Luke's lightsaber to open up the tauntaun is the only, prior to Force Awakens, when Finn gets his hands on one, it is the only example of a non-Jedi or a non-lightsaber user wielding a lightsaber. So it's not something it's not something we see very often.
At this point, this was the first, you're saying?
This is the first, and then we don't see it again until The Force Awakens.
Right. Well, General Grievous wasn't a Jedi.
But he wasn't a Jedi, but he had been trained with lightsabers.
Oh, fair.
Count Dooku had trained him to fight. Fair. So, not a Jedi, not necessarily a Force user, but a lightsaber wielder. He was for sure. He knew what he was doing with those lightsabers.
For sure.
So, I mean, that's, those are all, there's so much introduced right off the bat, right? That makes, just makes me wonder, I don't know how long it's been. It seems like they've celebrated the victory of the Death Star.
But a short-lived celebration as they've just continued to flee for their lives, so to speak.
Well, but there's still, I mean, they've defeated the Death Star, but that hasn't done anything about their numbers, right? So I guess any Imperial officers and stormtroopers that were on the Death Star when it blew are now dead. But the Empire is still big. Like they've got a lot. They've got a lot of resources. That the rebels just simply don't have. The rebels are a small knit group, and not because people don't identify with their cause. I think everyone's just scared shitless. People are like, I'm not going up against it. I'm not doing that. Right? Being a rebel is kind of one of those, you're likely not going to live. You're kind of cannon fodder. Or bantha fodder in this case, but for a cause, like it's a word. They're not just sacrificing themselves. They're they're doing it for the betterment of defeating the Emperor, which must seem so helpless at times.
Well, I think if you compare it with any kind of historical reference, whether it be in times of war, just any type of tyranny kind of overlording over like an oppressed people, it would be pretty hopeless. It would be pretty terrifying to put yourself out on a limb for what you perceive as right. and you're really risking everything, like your life, the life of your friends, your cohorts. There's a lot of realism in the Rebel Alliance in this movie.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And they've also definitely had enough time to regroup. They've had enough time to set up this other base, and clearly the Empire has been looking for them for a while.
Looking for them. They've dispatched all of these probes. So yeah. So things kind of wrap up on Hoth, and then what's interesting is it's the majority of this movie. All of our heroes are kind of separate, right? Luke's got his own, Luke's doing his own thing for most of this movie, which is which is very interesting.
They're only.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, hang on a sec here. What's going on? Okay, I voice connect now. Lost both of you guys for a second.
Cool.
Yeah, I lost you guys too for a second.
I think I've got you guys back.
I think
now.
we're back. So give me
Cool.
1 sec. Whenever you're ready, Pete.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, essentially the main characters are together for just a brief period at the beginning, and then they all kind of disperse. Luke goes to Dagobah, and then the rest of the characters are pursued by the Empire or fleeing from the Empire, and eventually some of them meet up again, but only briefly.
Yeah, absolutely. This movie marks kind of the beginning of what I have perceived. I mean, A New Hope is sort of like this a little bit, but these movies to me have very clearly defined acts, right? Like, and they're sort of broken up by geographical location, really. So the first segment, the first act of this film is clearly Hoth, and the act clearly ends. Like, usually when I'm watching a movie, people talk about, at the end of the first act, and I'm like, I don't know I don't know what you're referring to. Like, what is the first act? What is the second act of this film? It's not super clear to me. Whereas in this case, like the end of the first act is very clearly when they successfully get off of Hoth, and Luke is saying, "Thanks again, guys. I owe you one," or whatever, right? Like that whole, whatever, that they're headed off separate ways thing. And so, that's, and then again, the third act kind of starts with them arriving at, or Luke arriving at Cloud City. Right. So there's very clear, and I mean, Return of the Jedi, when we get to that, is the exact same way. Right, the opening act is all on Tatooine.
Right.
Right, and the middle act is all mostly on Endor, and Endor bleeds into the third act. But the third act is really the portion that's like the space battle, and it's cutting back and forth between the space battle, what's going on in Endor, and Luke and Vader in the Emperor's chamber.
Right.
So these movies to me are very very compartmentalized, right? They've got their own kind of little sections.
I think also that the films themselves are each acts as well. So I think there's sort of, you have acts within acts, I think.
Right.
One of the things I was going to comment on about this film in particular, which I'm not the first person to have this idea, but I think this film is the second act, which I think is partially why it's so successful, which we could talk about as well, because it actually is a second act. It's not just a sequel. But secondary to that, it kind of contains in miniature the whole story. So within its three acts, it contains the three acts of the trilogy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sort of on a miniature scale. Like it has, if you look at the beginning, you have Luke being called by Obi-Wan again at the beginning of this film, and then you have his sort of his travel to Dagobah and his training with Yoda and his I guess you'd call it, if it his sort of descent into the underworld, I suppose, to confront himself.
Right.
And then his sort of his rising out of that to go and face Vader, which in a way, which is, if you just expand it to the whole trilogy, is the three acts of the trilogy itself.
Interesting.
That's so deep.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree that this is Act 2, and I mean so much so that like this film has a climax. But I wouldn't say that this film in itself is climactic, right? This is a very cliffhangery film, right? Like it's a very, this movie ends and it's not a, hey, we won kind of ending. It's there's no success at the end of this, right?
No resolution.
The end of this movie happens and the general tone is just kind of, well, crap, now what? Right? It's this very helpless kind of feeling that you're left with. So, but so they leave Endor, and Luke goes to Dagobah.
Yep.
And I don't have the added benefit. Like I wish I could go back and experience Star Wars for the first time again. Without any spoilers or Easter eggs or whatever. Like I wish I could just watch all of the films and not know anything, right? Because I imagine like sitting in a theater at the end of the 70s. Was this movie come out 79?
80.
It came out in 80. Okay, sitting in a movie theater in 1980, and you would have no reason at all to suspect that this primitive seeming, somewhat crazy, unintelligent, irritating being is the Jedi Master that we've flown all the way to Dagobah to see.
Right.
Yeah. Now we watch the film and you go, oh, it's funny because it's, Yoda's basically playing around with him, right? Like
It's entertaining to see Yoda troll Luke, and you go, okay, Yoda, you're testing his patience, and you don't suspect it at all.
Testing his patience, and also just like keep in mind at this point, Yoda hasn't. I mean, there's a couple things to consider. Yoda's been there by himself for a long time. He's been in exile.
Probably like 20 plus years.
20 plus years, right? We'll say like 18, 19 years.
However old do you think Luke is?
Yeah, which I think he's 17 in A New Hope.
Okay.
So we'll say he's like 19, maybe 19 here. Sure. Yoda's exiled himself, right?
Yeah.
And for two reasons. One, to keep himself alive because all the Jedi are being hunted down and slaughtered. And two, I think Yoda feels a little bit of... a little bit of shame, a little bit of, like the Sith rose up and took over right underneath his nose, and he didn't know that it was happening, and the prophecy turned out to be, Yoda says the prophecy may have been misread, and this, everything may not be all it's cracked up to be, and I think Yoda feels like a failure. For sure. And so anyways, it's possible that this exile mint, is that a word? Exilement? Exilation?
His exile existence?
Exilification has has turned him a little loopy. Right? Like he's talking to like
I think it's definitely possible.
He's talking to like swamp creatures and swamp creatures alone. Like that's his,
right.
That's his support group, right? His sponsor is a friggin' swamp thing. And
that's his crew.
Although we do know that he does know how to commune with the Force ghosts of other
Yes.
Jedi.
Yeah.
So he may have been in communion with other with
Right.
Obi-Wan and with Qui-Gon and potentially others.
Which apparently is not a very well-known Force ability.
No.
Because it's not till the very end of Episode 3 that that Yoda says to Obi-Wan, like, I have training for you to do, and Obi-Wan's like, training
for what?
Like what? I'm good. I don't need training. And Yoda's like, I will teach you how to communicate with your old apprentice or your old master. And Ewan McGregor goes, Qui-Gon? Right? But so it's apparently like throughout the original trilogy, we just took it as, okay, well, when a Jedi dies, they're capable of coming back and talking to whoever they want, and anyone can see it, and it is what it is. But apparently
that's what Luke does. Like, Luke doesn't have to do a darn thing.
No, but I wonder if it's because Obi-Wan had that training.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, I wonder if in order to establish a link with the other side, you have to, one of the two people, during that Skype call have to have done the training. They have to know what it's all about, right?
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
But
I've always assumed that it was the dead person who had to make who had to do the work to sort of reach out, and that they could probably even present themselves as a ghost to even a non-Force user.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong about that. That's just maybe I've just always assumed that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is a little bit of a tangent from Empire, but it's definitely got to do with Force ghosts. Over under. What amount do I want to say here? We'll say over under 60% that Hayden Christensen shows up in Rise of Skywalker as either a Force ghost, it definitely is a Force ghost, but either as himself or as Vader. Over under 60%. What do you think?
How would that work though? Because I feel like he can't show up as Vader anymore because he is no longer Vader.
Right. Yeah. So chances are he would show up as Anakin.
Sure.
Because that's what he does in the altered version of.
I'm gonna go below 60% just because I feel like this new trilogy isn't. I don't know. They're not incredibly banking on nostalgia or direct ties to the original 6 movies, and I'm not sure if that's the path they're going to go. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to go below 60%.
And you, Jesse?
I'm going to go above.
Oh yeah.
I think there's a really good chance of it. I actually think in the last and I could be wrong about this. Maybe this is just because I'm looking for it. But I think since the 8th movie came out, I think there has been some backlash from people from our generation who did grow up with the prequels, and there's sort of been this. There seems to be online this kind of resurgence, or maybe not resurgence, but this kind of people starting to say like, oh, maybe the prequels weren't so bad, or maybe they had some merits, or maybe they had some things we liked, and maybe we could stop hating on them so much now, and actually, the Disney has been kind of cutting prequel lovers out of the equation, and so I think just purely almost from an economic point of view, I think that they will potentially be I could see them making a move like that to tie the whole thing together, both for the fans and just thematically as well, to tie everything up, because it is the final film.
Fair enough. Yeah. That would be fun to watch.
I'm gonna take the over,
Yeah. Okay.
Mostly just because I want them to do it so bad. Right? Like I really want to see, like, people get bent out of shape. There's two trains of thoughts out there. There's one train of thought that goes, quit making it, like, when we're all trying to figure out who is Rey. Right? Sure. Who is Rey related to? Is she a Skywalker? Is she a Kenobi? What the hell is she? And there was a bunch of people who said, why does she have to be anything? Stop making everyone connected to everyone else, right? Why does Snoke have to be someone? Just make her. Right. Just make Snoke a new character. That's fine. Just make him someone. And I can kind of see that. There's a fear that by making, every time you make someone related to someone else, you're effectively making the universe a little bit smaller. But you know what? To me, the close-knitness and the emphasis on family and the emphasis on descendants and ancestors and siblings and all, that is Star Wars. That has always, I agree. That has always been Star Wars. So first of all,
it's not a collection of strangers.
Yeah. So first of all, I will say, and this is the end of this tangent, but first of all, I will say I am not yet convinced that that Rey isn't a Skywalker until we actually hear. Like, we've heard that her parents were nobody.
Sure.
And maybe that was Snoke deceiving her, trying to beat her down and make her feel awful. I don't know. But I'm not convinced that she's not either a Kenobi or a Skywalker. Otherwise, otherwise, what's the point in her having these visions when she touches the Skywalker lightsaber hilt, right? Like, it doesn't. So anyways, but I think they're going to get really nostalgic on this one, honestly, because Force Awakens was pretty nostalgic. They kind of, they pulled all the stops to kind of make you feel like, yes, this is in fact definitely Star Wars. And then The Last Jedi kind of did none of that. But keep in mind, The Last Jedi was directed by Rian Johnson. And The Last Jedi kind of said F you to a lot of the things that J.J. Abrams had sort of set up and established in Force Awakens. But now that...
It showed.
Now that J.J. Abrams is back...
I think it did more than that. I think it was giving a middle finger to more than what Abrams had done. I think it was definitely giving, it was definitely a lot bigger than that, I think.
Yeah. But and so now that JJ's back, honestly, I think he's going to set a lot of things right. And and the end of this tangent is basically, the observation that Rian Johnson killed off Snoke. Right? Killed off J.J. Abrams' big crazy bad guy. And then J.J. Abrams said, "Okay, screw you. I'll bring the Emperor back to life. Like, I got no whatever. I don't need you." So but yeah. Excuse me. What were we talking about before we got on this crazy tangent?
I just wanted to make a comment. To make a comment about what you were saying about it being ultimately about family, and that being a good piece of evidence for why they will tie all of those pieces together. Because even Lucas said in interviews back in the day, he said Star Wars is ultimately a soap opera.
Oh, absolutely!
It's ultimately a soap opera about a family.
Yeah, it's just a soap opera that happens to take place in outer space.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fundamental element to it.
Oh, for sure. So I mean, we can't really talk about Empire Strikes Back without talking about the crown jewel moment of this film. The film that makes everyone go, what? The line, the Star Wars line, that even if you have never seen Star Wars, hate Star Wars, and refuse to give Star Wars a chance, you know this line.
When Han Solo says, "I know."
Yeah, wow, that's a beautiful moment too. That honestly, when Leia says, "I love you," and he goes, "I know," it's so good. Like, it's sums
his character up.
It's just totally, it's him. You go, oh, absolutely. There was no other way for him to to
the women go for the bad boys.
Yeah. No, so not only is what I'm talking about the most iconic Star Wars quote, it's also the most misquoted Star Wars quote.
Right.
The actual line is, "No, I am your father."
Right.
Whereas whenever someone quotes it, they tend to say, "No, Luke, I am your father." When in fact, Vader doesn't say Luke.
Right.
I mean, it's semantics. It's not a big deal, but it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. It might not be the most known line because people misquote it, but it is one of the most known scenes or sequences or revelations of something being exposed or what have you.
So interesting. Interesting thing about this when they were filming it. It's very limited. I don't think Mark Hamill knew. James Earl Jones knew because James Earl Jones was voicing Vader beautifully. Obviously George Lucas knew, but everyone else on set, maybe with the exception of Mark Hamill, but the majority of people on set had a fake script that day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so even the actor, David Prowse, the actor inside the Vader suit, because the way it worked is David Prowse would say the lines, and so that people could interact over him.
Sure.
Which is what he's doing for this one. The decision to replace his voice in A New Hope didn't come until post-production. So originally, David Prowse said all the lines in the suit, expecting that his voice was going to be the voice of Vader, and there's a whole big boycotting of Star Wars by David Prowse thing around that. But so the line in everybody's script was, Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father, did he? And Luke says, "He told me enough. He told me you killed him." And the line in the script was, "No, Obi-Wan killed your father." Right? And then Luke's reaction is, "No, that's impossible." Like if you say, which by the way is like the worst moment, like Luke's reaction to this is so like, get over yourself, pal. Like, I don't know, he's just very melodramatic here. But
very juvenile.
But if you watch the scene and you replace "No, I am your father" with "Obi-Wan killed your father," the rest of the scene still works. It works perfectly. There's nothing that Luke says or Vader says that, except for the "we will rule the galaxy as father and son" thing. But that was, again, who knows what he had said, like, "Join me and we'll rule the galaxy together" or something.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true. It all works. Yeah. So on the day, nobody would have gone, "Wait a second, this line doesn't make any sense." They would have went, "Oh my God, Obi-Wan killed Luke's father? What a crazy twist."
Right. Yeah, it's an incredible accomplishment, right? That he kept such a big thing under wraps and there were no leaks. I mean, what he had on his side was Twitter and social media didn't exist, so there's no way to anonymously just leak something out. But it's still impressive, and nowadays when so many things get leaked out left, right, and center in the Hollywood kind of plot spoiler universe, it's impressive. Yeah, he did it well.
Like, most of these actors found out sitting in the theater at the premiere of the film.
I read a quote where Mark Hamill was sitting next to Harrison Ford in the preview, and at the end, like in the credits, apparently Ford leaned over to Hamill and said, "Hey, kid, you never effing told me that."
And Mark Hamill probably went, "I didn't know."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what? Yeah. No, it's crazy. Pete, do you think you could scrounge together some trivia if I asked you to?
Oh, more than one question, really.
All right. I'm game if Jesse's game.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to change. Our previous guest on a Star Wars episode was Carl Eastman. If you haven't heard the episode, give it a check out.
That's
I had
rat.
Carl. I had Carl and Brady go against each other just because they generally don't like each other. In this circumstance, I will let Jesse and Brady work in tandem, so they're not pitted against each other. They can help each other, whatnot. Same rules apply.
Sounds good.
Oh, sorry.
Do I have to, or can I say to hell with Jesse and just compete against him anyways?
Well, way to be a Sith Lord here.
I'm not a very competitive person, so
I feel like if we have a guest on the show that doesn't know a lot about Star Wars, then it makes sense for us to kind of work together. But I'm getting the sense that Jesse knows his Star Wars, and so I kind of want to.
Yeah, Jesse. My questions. Okay, well, we'll get into them, and we'll see who comes out on top. We've still got the rule of thumb that the winner gets a new car.
Right.
So,
which is better.
There's a lot on the line.
Which is similar to the rule of 2.
Okay. So, first question. In this installment, who dropped the line, "I have a bad feeling about this"?
Do you want us to answer separately or what?
Sure. Or just blurt out an answer, whatever.
So my answer is that it's Han Solo on the deck of the Millennium Falcon.
Okay. Jesse, any guesses?
I think it could be Luke, and it could have been on Dagobah.
Okay. You're both actually wrong, and it's Leia in the stomach of that meteor creature.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
It's Return of the Jedi. When I'll get that question right eventually. It's in Return of the. Ask it again in Return of the Jedi.
We'll see. Okay. Next question. Boba Fett. For being a peripheral character, he is very popular, very strong following, a fan favorite, you would even say.
Which is stupid, by the way. But
yes,
whatever.
But though that'll get into this question. Considering his following, how many lines does Boba Fett have in this movie? And this is his original debut to the Star Wars galaxy. He made it into A New Hope for a scene in the special edition, but we'll call this his debut. How many lines do you think he had in this movie?
I'll let you go first, Jesse.
Okay. I'm just trying to count in my head here.
Yeah, me too.
Jesse, what I'd recommend, you've got all his lines tattooed on your left shoulder, so just go find a mirror and you should get this. Brady, do you want to give a hazard a guess?
I'm going to say 1.
Okay.
Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
Okay, Brady?
I think he has 4, and I think I can name them all. I think I can quote them.
So you're both wrong, but you could name most of them, Brady. He had 5 lines.
What is the 5th?
I don't actually have them all in front of me, but they're, according to my sources, he had 5.
Okay, so the 4 that I can think of
is
As You Wish.
Okay.
He's No Good to Me Dead.
Yep.
What If He Doesn't Survive? He's Worth a Lot to Me.
Right.
And Put Captain Solo in the Cargo Hold.
Yeah.
I can't think of a 5th one, so I'm going to challenge you on that. I'm going to contest that, but we'll
we can look that up off the air, and maybe in our bonus segment we can revisit that. So just as a piece of conversation, it is crazy how popular he is, because literally he had 5 lines in this movie, but he was actually never even referred by name. He's referred by name by Princess Leia in the 2004 Blu-ray edition. So they added it in. Leia's tending to Luke and says a bounty hunter named Boba Fett took Han Solo. But prior to that, so in the original release, he wasn't even mentioned by name.
Right. He is mentioned in Return of the Jedi. But I guess maybe not this.
Yeah. But not in this. So it's amazing how popular he was, and he literally said nothing of consequence and wasn't even mentioned by name.
All right. Fair enough.
So the next question, here we go. Compared to A New Hope, Darth Vader has a lot more autonomy as a character and has increased relevance to the flow of the movie in Empire.
Okay.
So, and actually he earned his own theme because this was the introduction of the Imperial March.
Yeah.
Considering he only had 12 minutes of screen time in A New Hope, what is your guess for his screen time in Empire Strikes Back?
Are you giving us options?
I can. Would you like me to?
That would be good, I think.
Sure.
Okay, sure. So 12 minutes in A New Hope. So I'll give you 4 options. 10, 13, 18, or 22.
I'm going to say 18.
Okay. Brady?
10, 13, 18, or 22?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with 13. I'm going to say he only had like a minute more.
Yeah. So Brady is actually correct. And it's incredible how much more involved and central to the whole moving of this movie he was, but he relatively had the same amount of screen time.
He's got a fight scene.
Like relatively.
He's definitely got more presence for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I found that impressive because when we were doing New Hope in the 12 minutes, it was like, wow, he was barely in this thing, but he was just used differently in Empire and he just seemed that he was more involved. So,
Okay.
yeah. Just out of context, Luke had 34 minutes and Han and Leia had about 23 each. So these movies do definitely centralize and focus more on the good characters, obviously.
Right.
Okay, so this one I think could be fun. I'm not sure. Maybe it won't be. If not, then I apologize to everyone who's listening.
Well, one of them is bound to be.
Yeah. Hey. So this question is an appendage count. How many times is what?
Whoa, an appendage count?
Yeah, how many times is a limb lost in this film?
Oh my gosh. Did you find this on the internet or were you just counting?
I did find it on the internet.
Okay. Are you giving us options? I feel like this is an options kind of question. No. Okay. Oh God.
Just a guess. It's just for fun.
I can count 4 off the top of my head.
Well, there's right. Okay, I should just count them. There's that one, and that one. Right. I'm gonna say. Ooh, there's a trick question.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 4 as well.
Just out of curiosity, could you sound out the 4? Like, what were your 4?
Okay, so the Wampa loses his arm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, Luke cuts it off. Vader cuts off Luke's hand.
Right.
And then the one that's kind of tricky is C-3PO loses both arms when he's destroyed.
That's what I was thinking.
By the,
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys nailed it. You got it.
Nice. That was kind of a trick question.
I wanted to also try and throw in a curveball and maybe make it living organism arms and try and work that into the wording, but you guys nailed it. I just kept it simple.
Nice.
This might be the last one, depending on... Actually, just curiosity, because it depends if I ask a question or not. What version did you watch, Brady, and what version did you watch, Jesse?
I watched the Blu-ray special, like the newest, with all the changes and everything.
Okay, and Jesse?
I have only ever watched the one with all the changes.
So just to confirm,
but not as Blu-ray.
Oh, so that's interesting because I got some fun things to talk about in a minute.
So just to confirm, you guys, when you watch the scene with Darth Vader and the Emperor, it's actually Ian McDiarmid.
It's Ian McDiarmid. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, see, I watched the only versions I watch are the VHS, so it's not him.
Okay, it's Clive
And this
Rebel.
is going to, and it's yeah, and actually, so it's played by an elderly woman, and they superimposed chimpanzee eyes on her.
Yeah, but the voice, she's not voicing it. A guy named Clive Revel is voicing it. And
Yes, that's correct.
there's a Chinese woman that I can't quite remember the name of that plays the physical. Yeah.
So to me, which yeah,
But
anyway,
it's a
we'll get
very
into
deep
this.
voice. It's a very, very
Yeah.
kind of bolsterous kind of. Whereas now, of course, the Emperor's like, oh, he's the son of Skywalker. that was awful. Oh my
Right.
God.
Okay, so in that case, since you guys haven't seen that same version as I have,
Oh, I've seen
this
it.
This is the last question.
I've seen it. It's just not the one I watched this time.
For sure.
Okay.
But it was about that superimposed eyes and whatnot.
Oh,
so
okay.
there's no more questions.
Oh, okay. All right.
Have either of you tried an inversion table? And that's rhetorical. I don't actually care if you have, so don't answer.
Okay.
There is a recurrence of our protagonist being inverted and connecting with the Force. How often does this occur in this movie?
Well, one. Two.
And to sound it out, like what examples are you thinking of? Like when he
And
is
three.
busking in the streets?
I'm going to say three.
Okay. And when? What does he do?
Well, I want to hear Jesse's answer first.
I'm picturing two at the moment, and I'm just trying to think if I can think of if there's a third one. Okay, three. I got three.
Okay,
Sure.
so my three are when he's hanging upside down in the Wampus Cave.
Yep.
Yeah.
When he's on Dagobah upside down with balancing Yoda on one foot and he's moving rocks.
Yeah.
And then after his arm has been cut off or his hand's been cut off and he's hanging off an antenna below Cloud City and he's communing with Leia.
Oh,
Nailed.
I had a different one for the third one,
Oh, what did you have, Jesse?
which might be somewhat of a technicality, and I just realized actually is not connected to the Force, so never mind.
Okay.
No, but what was it? What
Never
was the
mind.
suggestion?
I had two. I was thinking that he does when he's fighting with Vader,
Right, he jumps up out of the thing.
Oh.
jumps over and he flips upside down.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
When he's fighting with Vader, but
Which-
he's not
Right.
directly. He could be using the Force to.
He's not.
lift
It's
himself.
definitely a force jump,
Yeah.
but it's not. I don't know if I would. I don't know if if I would consider that an inversion.
Right.
Right.
No.
But
Right.
So I'll give you guys
that's fair
got it. Is a quick aside because it was related to my question. Is it not bothersome to you as it is to me how problematic it is that there's so many different renditions of these films exist? So the Star Wars that I watch isn't the same as the Star Wars you watch.
Right.
I mean, this isn't a worldview that we need an individual experience for each individual person. Should there not be
Right.
like it bothers me how it's not quite standard.
well, I mean, they have standardized it a little bit,
Okay.
in the sense that, and this kind of segues into what I want to talk about with the changes. We had a big chat about the changes in A New Hope.
Right.
There are fewer significant changes in Empire Strikes Back, but these changes are actually even maybe more polarizing, even though there's fewer.
Right. Yeah. I'd
But
agree.
so the answer to the different versions is essentially that Lucas, before he sold Star Wars to Disney, said, and it was a part of the deal that this can't change. The newest version, the Blu-ray special edition, is canon. The films that came before the previous versions aren't real. They're not canon. So anything that's added or changed in the newer versions is the accurate version. Like it or not, take it or leave it.
Okay.
That's the way it is. So the three changes Three big changes in this one.
Okay.
One you've already touched on is the Emperor's hologram. So, so Clive Revill originally provided the Emperor's voice in Empire Strikes Back, while actress Marjorie Eaton portrayed him physically wearing a mask, and then they superimposed the monkey eyes. Yeah. And then ultimately they were replaced in 2004 with Ian McDiarmid.
Right. Which is cool.
It improves continuity.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things where, was it necessary? Not really. Does it kind of suck to the original participants that, hey, you know what, you're no longer a part of Star Wars? Kind
That's
of,
true.
right?
That sucks.
And it's not necessary. Right? Like, you just kind of watching it, I just kind of always understood, hey, you know, this is before they had really fleshed out the idea who the Emperor was.
For sure.
Because they changed his dialogue a little bit too. Like the lines aren't word for word the same either. Right? So there's been some changes there. The other one was also a recasting.
Oh.
Boba Fett.
Oh.
Boba Fett's dialogue in the original film was recorded by Jason Wingreen. Subsequently, Attack of the Clones revealed Boba Fett to be a clone of Jango Fett, played by the Hawaii guy. He's an islander.
Momoa. No.
His last name's Morrison. Sure. Anyways, to reflect the fact that Morrison was, is the clone, he re-recorded Boba Fett's lines, and they were imposed over the 2004 DVD release of the film.
Sure.
So that's another, a second time during that movie that they're like, hey, for continuity's sake, we're going to recast. The third one, and the one that those ones don't really bother me. The one that I think is a detriment to the film is in the Wampa scene. So in the original theatrical release of the film, we don't ever see the Wampa, ever.
Correct.
We hear grumbling, we hear him, kind of move, we see shadows, and again, there's that fear of, it's kind of like what we were saying in the last episode with Jabba the Hutt.
Yes.
There was that fear, that anticipation. Your imagination was in charge of what the Wampa looked like.
Whereas, imaginations are more powerful than any special effect.
Absolutely. So, but in the new one, I mean, you basically have a full frontal shot of the Wampa. You get to see exactly what he looks like. Right. So that's.
So you mentioned like them not being necessary. Jesse, what are your thoughts? I mean, to me, I kind of see the merit in doing it just for continuity, but I also think, are any of these changes necessary? What are your thoughts?
I think so. I mean, in some ways, I'm not having seen the earlier versions. I'm not really. I have no particular investment in any of them.
Right.
So it's kind of easy for me to say, doesn't really matter. But on the other hand, and I know this may be an unpopular opinion, because I think many people sort of see things like Star Wars as sort of belonging to the fans, which is a whole other conversation. But I've tended always to see it as, like, if this is a piece of film, if this is a piece of artwork, it's George Lucas's art, and if he wants to change it, and if he wants to fine tune it, and if he had a vision for it, and he wasn't fully able to realize that at the time, and now he can, then that's kind of I think his prerogative to be able to do that, and I think that the fans can't really say too much to that, I think, really, because I guess I just think it's kind of his prerogative if he wants to change those things. It's if you can imagine, if you had put your heart and soul into a project and you had a vision for it, and it didn't quite turn out the way you wanted it to, and then the ability to perfect it to your vision was made available to you, you'd probably want to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting point, Brady. If I put my heart and soul, and if I was that person who originally portrayed the Emperor and I got the boot, I'd be so disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, when it comes down to, Jesse said, it's a conversation of its own. I don't think it is a conversation. I think that film fans in general, myself included, Pete included, Jesse, I don't know you, but you included, if you are a film fan, you are, or at some point in your life have been, a entitled, whiny little snot-nosed brat. And it's true, right? People go, oh, well, the new Star Wars movie came out, and that's not Star Wars. That's not true to what Star Wars is. Well,
yeah.
By definition, this is the new Star Wars film. Yeah. So it is. This is Star Wars. This is what it is. If you don't have to like it, right? It was like in The Last Jedi. People were like, "Oh, the Leia, and she does the thing where she's in space, and Leia uses the Force to like sustain herself, and you can't do that with the Force." And the answer is, apparently, you can.
Yeah, you don't have to like it or even agree with it, but I think you have to accept that it is what it is.
Yeah,
fair.
And it's the same. Luke would never do that. Luke just did. Get over yourself, right? Like it's you don't have to like it, but you're not in charge. It's not it's not your IP, so you don't get to make that. If you want to be the change, go work at Disney. Work your way up. Be an executive, the guy that gets to watch the film and say, "Ooh, I don't really think that that's what would happen. How about we make this change?" Right?
I mean, that's a pretty simple accomplishment. I feel like we should all just do that.
And until I know this is a rant, but until you're at that point, you don't have an opinion. So shut up. Right, is really what it people were petitioning to have The Last Jedi removed from Star Wars canon. Get over yourself.
I'm gonna say I'm somewhere in the middle. I mean, petitioning, yeah, that's a little lame. Like, what, you're gonna do nothing. But I feel like people do and should and can have an opinion.
They can have an opinion.
And they exercise it by not seeing a movie or saying, "Hey, I can definitely discern which is my least favorite Star Wars movie."
Yeah, but right. But it doesn't mean you get to say, "Oh, can we just retcon that? Can we pretend that never happened?" The only person who can do that is Disney,
right?
And they shouldn't.
Sure,
they shouldn't retcon things. If you can explain properly how something happened in a way that if you can go back on something, if you can change a decision and you can play it off as, well, really, we didn't actually change it because if you look at it this way, and if you can impress me with that, if I go, oh, that's clever. Wow, I guess you're right. That is how it is, right? Like if they come back and say, Rey is a Skywalker and she has been the whole time and we never said she wasn't and this is the proof of that. And if you can do that in a way that makes me go, holy crap, you're totally right, then power to you. But if you just come in and go, oh no, it turns out that's not true. We changed our minds. Then no, you can't, you made a bed, lie in it.
Right.
But so anyways,
Now, Brady, for the sake of our listeners, just tell us how you really feel about this though.
No, you don't want to know. One last thing that I can think of, and this is just kind of a fun side note,
sure.
the carbonite that Han gets frozen in. You remember as a kid, and you can still get them, but it's like it's a toy, and it's maybe 6 inches by 10 inches, and it's got all the needle. You put your hand in it and flip it over, and it leaves like an imprint of your hand. It's got like 100 or not 100. It's got like 1,000 little pins that slide over, and then it's got the piece of plexiglass so that you can see whatever indent has been left by that. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Completely.
Yeah, I used to.
No, but
what? Oh my
I can
God.
imagine.
I used to I used to take and make an impression. I would make the Han Solo mouth open carbonite face, and then I would make an impression of my face with it because it was like a silvery gray color, and I'd make an impression of my face and pretend that it was, you know, my face frozen in carbonite. I was like, I don't know, you know, we're talking, you know, a while ago. I was like at least 18 or something at that point, but
Sure.
yeah. No, I was a little kid, but to me that was, you know, I took a toy that wasn't a Star Wars toy and I made it a Star Wars toy. So, and to this day, if I'm out late at night and I've got a bright flashlight that's casting a beam, you better believe that flashlight becomes a lightsaber so damn fast. Like, you know, it's Star Wars is the thing that, you know, turns
automatic
me
doors.
It turns me into
doors.
a little kid all over again, right?
Do you wave your hand at the automatic doors?
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely. One of the last places I worked was at a retail place, and it had the opening doors. And every time it'd be the two fingers, and I would just kind of like swipe the two fingers to the side, and right. Yeah. And every time I was like, oh, friggin' A, like, you know, this is I am a Jedi. That's the only possible explanation for this. Do either of you have anything else in regards to The Empire Strikes Back that you would like to insert into the listeners' ears?
Two brief things.
Oh my God.
One,
okay.
As a child, it's so cool to watch a movie as a child and then watch it through an adult lens. And something about this is so simple, but I love it. I just love that I read, and maybe I should have just realized this, the shots where Luke was force pulling the lightsaber to his hand to escape was actually just to film it. They shot him throwing the lightsaber and then played it in reverse. And I just love the simplicity of it. I just love it. And as a kid, I remember watching these being like, what magic did they use to shoot these scenes of force grabbing lightsabers? And in reality, it was just so simple. But one thing, we've all at this table, and we're not actually even at the same table, we've all seen Django Unchained. And there's an uncomfortable scene where Leonardo DiCaprio kind of has this long monologue of making everyone around him, including the audience, just completely uncomfortable. And our two protagonists are sitting there, like, watching the sweat drip down their necks going, ugh, what have we gotten ourselves into? I feel like if... I'm not saying there should be a remake of The Empire Strikes Back, but I'm saying if there were ever an additional scene, I think there could be something similar in concept to this when Vader invites Han for lunch, quote unquote, and they're all just sitting at the table and Vader's cutting up his steak and Boba Fett's sitting there and just all our protagonists are sitting there uncomfortable while Darth Vader's just throwing things around metaphorically in the air and chewing on. Well, I guess he's not chewing, but he'd put steak up to his mask and sniff it. Something about that, I think that would make a good scene. But those are my only two thoughts.
My only takeaway from that comment is every scene that I watch that has Leonardo DiCaprio in it, I interpret as a disturbing scene.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Doesn't matter. Like, doesn't matter what film it is. Draw me like one of your French girls, Jack. Like, okay. That's,
I thought you were.
You've never used that in conversation.
Oh, I never with a female.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Jesse, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, there's just one thing that I wanted to add, which we don't have to delve too deeply into because it's a huge rabbit hole. But just something I just wanted to comment that your listeners might want to look up. That's something I think that's of interest. And this is more broadly to do with Star Wars in general. But is Star Wars ring theory. And I talked a little bit earlier about sort of the nesting of the theme or the nesting of the acts, and I'm kind of drawing that from this from if you just look up www.starwarsringtheory.com, there's an essay by a guy named Mike Klimo, and he basically lays the whole idea out that the six films that Lucas did, there's actually a lot more complexity to the way they're all related, um, and that they actually operate almost like music or almost like a poem. And Lucas has mentioned that in interviews before as well. And there's a professor at the University of Toronto named Anne Lancashire, who he quotes in this essay, and who he's drawing the ideas from. But we could have a whole other conversation about this. But it's a really fascinating read, if you are interested in delving further into that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
Jesse,
to look into that.
Yeah, Jesse's shared this with me before, so those of you listening, check it out. And I'm by no means a Lucas apologist at all. Like I'm not in the camp of let's build a statue of how much of a genius he is and name all the men after him in our society. But upon reading this article on the ring theory, it's like, okay, this is actually pretty cool, and it's pretty strategic how you've made these 6 movies. I'll give you that.
All right. Yeah.
Brady,
I said, I'm going to look into it.
Cool. Brady, what would you like to add about the Empire?
Nothing.
Cool.
Yeah. No.
Oh.
Yeah. No, the only thing I'd like to do is ask Jesse what he watched this week.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Pete.
I think
I'm more interested in Jesse.
I am too. Jesse's interesting.
Well, thanks, guys. I think I only watched one film this past week.
Oh my
Cool.
God.
I started a second one, but I didn't get very far into it.
Oh, you're one of
But
them.
I watched. I was really tired, and I had already finished watching the first film. I watched a show this week, but since we're talking about movies, I won't bring that up.
Sure.
But I watched a film called The Beguiled, which is a Sofia Coppola film. If you've seen Lost in Translation or Somewhere.
Don't bring that up with Brady. He's not enlightened.
Oh.
He's not a Lost in Translationer.
Awful film.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, this is her most recent film, and it basically is set in an all-girls school in the Deep South during the Civil War. And
I just Googled I remember seeing this. Go on. This looks amazing.
And Colin Farrell plays like an Irish immigrant who's serving in the military on the north, and he's injured and in the woods, and one of the students from this school finds him, and they take him in, and then some kind of craziness ensues. But it's very. I wouldn't say it's definitely not going in my top 10 or anything like that. It wasn't quite as good as I would think I was hoping it would be. It's quite straightforward. But it's very atmospheric. So like I think just in terms of watching it for like the time period and the atmosphere, and it's worth watching alone for that. And the performances are also excellent. Colin Farrell and Kirsten Dunst and who else was in it?
Nicole Kidman looks like.
Nicole Kidman was in it, and
Ellie Fanning apparently.
Elle Fanning, yeah. So good performances, really good atmosphere, just an interesting. If you're all interested in that sort of time period and that world, and anything to do with that, or if you like Sofia Coppola's films, if you liked Marie Antoinette or Somewhere or any of those, then it's definitely worth checking out.
Cool.
All right. Well, what did you watch this week, Pete?
I watched your recommendation of Aquaman.
Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome.
Oh, well, eh,
It's not anything worth writing home about. But if you take
yeah.
if you take the movie and you compare it to some of the other DCEU films that we've gotten,
okay.
I would say that this one there are definitely worse DCEU films than Aquaman.
Yeah, but that's like saying, like, hey, instead of getting diagnosed with hepatitis, you just got pneumonia.
Oh wow, you
So
really
it's-
didn't like this.
Yeah, I did not enjoy it.
Okay.
And you alluded to it, like, it's just far too CGI heavy.
Very CGI heavy. Very.
And although I love me some Willem Dafoe,
Yeah.
this whole movie, I just got really bored. Like, I couldn't believe how little I was invested in this movie. I was actually really surprised because just it looked like a cool movie. And I guess I feel like Aquaman is the superhero that's made fun of on the playground, like compared to Batman and Superman. And so I was hoping this movie would kind of vindicate him and like just kind of be like, hey, like Aquaman has a place in this universe too. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but this movie didn't convince me.
Wow. Okay. I mean, for me, it was fun. It was like it's a kind of a fun, throw it on and forget about it kind of movie, maybe. But it's not a glue you to the screen kind of film. Yeah.
I guess just to me, like my final thought is just unlike most MCU movies that even if I don't care about that character, for the most part I can watch them and be like, hey, that was a fun 2 hours, or hey, like I will never watch it again, but that was entertaining. This I didn't like. I give it a 3.3 out of 10. So it's in the no Wi-Fi at the cottage and it's on VHS category. I might watch it.
Okay. That's
So.
becoming a category for us. That's sort of that's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't watch much else, so I'll just wait to tell you. Should I tell you my recommendation then? Because that's the only other thing I watched.
Sure.
So I watched. My recommendation is also what I watched. So it's a 2015 movie called Remember, and the only thing. Have you heard of it?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. So I'm just gonna say a couple of quick things just to let you know what it's about. All I'm gonna say is it stars Christopher Plummer. And my disclaimer is it's a pretty serious movie and it's very solemn, like it's not light. It just deals with like the macro topic of individuals who survived like the Holocaust, like a mass genocide. And then on a micro level, like it's this specific individual who struggles with this, but also it's compounded by his dementia. So it's just an interesting movie and I want you to watch it.
All right. I kind of feel like, I don't know. In some ways, I feel like I've got this duty now to recommend things to you that are going to top either The Jerk or Toys in this category of movies that you won't like. But which I think is going to happen this week, but very unintentionally.
Okay.
So, anyways, the first thing I watched was Independence Day.
Oh, cool. Yep.
And I mean, it's good. It's Independence Day is by today's standards, it's kind of goofy.
For sure. Yeah.
But it's Independence Day. It's a classic. It's got a star-studded cast.
Yep.
And it's just, it's a lot of fun. It's very like, because it came out in the late 90s, right?
Yeah,
and,
1996, I think.
Yeah, and it's got that feel. Like a lot of movies in the 90s kind of had that, and maybe even early 2000s kind of have this military apocalyptic space travel or defending the home front from alien, so it's kind of a tired. It's kind of a tired plot.
Right. It's been stretched. Like, it's been used a lot.
But I would say of all of the ones that do it, Independence Day is up there as far as one of the best ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith, like, what else do you need in a movie?
Yeah, absolutely. I also watched Toy Story 4.
You're rewatching a lot of the movies we've reviewed. I like it.
Well, yeah. So I mean, sort of just as they're they're all kind of just coming out on home video.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, Toy Story 4 was one of the ones that when we watched it and we reviewed it, I wasn't crazy about it.
Okay.
And so I wanted to rewatch it and see if that changed.
Sure.
And I think it changes a little bit. Like it still wasn't the emotional ending that I was promised.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I still just don't really care about Bonnie as a kid. And right, like to me, they're Andy's toys, and
for sure.
And I think this time, the first time we watched it, I could not wrap my head around what they were thinking with, spoiler alert for Toy Story 4, with getting Woody to okay, maybe I won't even spoil it. I'll just say that I the first time we watched it, I couldn't wrap my head around how they ended, what they were thinking when they ended Woody's story the way that they did.
Right.
I was kind of, it seemed not true to who Woody is and all of this. I don't know. It just kind of bent me in the wrong direction. And watching it this time, I still don't think I like what they did. But I think I could see what they were shooting for this time. Like I kind of, was a little more understanding about it.
Right. You're a little more at peace with it.
The other film that I watched, which I'm going to recommend to you, is one of those films, and I feel like I've said this a lot, and it turns out that every single time you don't end up liking them. But this is a film that you are likely to enjoy more if you're gonna if watching this for the first time happens this week, you're probably not going to be blown away by it.
Okay.
But if you grew up with it, then then you'll enjoy it. So piggybacking off the theme of Toy Story, in the first two Toy Story movies prior to his passing away, Slinky Dog was played by an actor named Jim Varney.
Oh, yeah.
And Jim Varney was in several movies. But the character that really made Jim Varney famous was his character of Ernest P. Worrell.
Oh, right.
And it was kind of one of those. He started out like they were doing movies or TV commercials with him. He was like a TV commercial character, and he was marketing. He did like literally. I watched a documentary about it. He did literally over like 7,000 commercials as Ernest. Yeah. So and then anyways, someone said, "Hey, people love this guy. We should do a movie." And there's like a Christmas one, and there's a Halloween one. There's all kinds of different, right? Like they just kind of kept making them and doing a direct to home kind of thing. Anyways, the first one they did, and the one that I'm recommending for you is a movie called Ernest Goes to Camp.
All right.
And it's just kind of a fun, heartfelt, it's very reminiscent of a lot of films from the early 90s. Or family films, kid movies from the early 90s.
Sure.
And yes, it's ridiculous, and yes, it's over the top. But I want you, when you watch it, just to really analyze Jim Varney's performance.
Sure.
And because it's kind of it's kind of like Mr. Bean in the sense that you can watch Mr. Bean and people go, okay, well, he's just being stupid and over the top and whatever.
Yeah.
But if you really break down Rowan Atkinson's performance when he's doing Mr. Bean, it's so intricate, and so much work goes into the nuances of it. So, so that's my.
I think you're in for some good news, because I do think your perception of me is that of a robot, because you'll recommend all these these movies that are important to childhood, and I'm like, I rip them apart. This is a movie that of all the Ernest movies, it's the only one I saw as a child.
Okay.
I don't remember any of it. So I've been curious to rewatch it as an adult, so I'm actually kind of pumped that you recommended that.
Yeah, so there's hope.
So it'll be in your favor, because at least I've seen it before as a child, so it won't just be like a grown-ass man watching it and being like, what is this?
Okay.
So I think the odds are ever in your favor, but I'm not promising anything.
Okay. I will say, I don't think it's not my favorite Ernest film.
Okay.
Sure. But it's one of the, I would say, being the first Ernest movie, it's the best introduction to him. They're all kind of standalone films. Like none of them really build off of the one that came before.
Sure.
But this one kind of treats you like you don't know who he really is going into it. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. I'm good.
I think that kind of wraps it up.
I'm content. Thanks again, Jesse, for
honestly, Jesse,
chilling out with us.
Looking into your eyes right now, I want to thank you for being an honorary movie man and joining us on the show.
You're really not, and I feel like it's not good to lie to people, Pete. And, and the fact that, like, just based on audio alone, people will know that he phoned in. Like,
we never saw him face to face. Yeah, his resume was really good, so we let him join the show. So
Jesse phoned in for this appearance, and Pete phones in pretty much in everything he does in life. He's just kind of phoning it in.
Yeah. So it's a continuing theme.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, until
until we phone it in next time.
Until Pete phones it in next time, and I give an Oscar-worthy performance. That's kind of how this works. We will. What?
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you so much. There are so many better things you could have done with the last hour and a half. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I mean, but thanks for your lack of judgment when it comes to
time management.
Yeah, time management, and surveying what is decent entertainment and what is is not. So, okay, until next time.
Bye-bye.